All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever felt like you're stuck on a hamster wheel? You have the same argument with your partner. Again. You feel that same flicker of self-doubt right before a big meeting? It's that feeling that, not this again feeling, where you end up right back where you started? Well, what if I told you the reason for all that is hiding somewhere in your past, maybe in a place you don't even consciously remember? Let's get into it. If you leave, don't come back. Just imagine hearing those words, shouted at your mom, when you're 5 years old. For the author Vienna Pharaon, this one terrifying sentence became this sort of invisible blueprint for a lifetime of patterns that, for the longest time, she just couldn't figure out.
And that story, it really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. The idea that your past is your present. Even the moments we think are long gone, buried, they're actually quietly running the show, right now, today.
Yeah, that one single outburst of her father's rage, it sent a total shockwave through her entire childhood. She remembers her mom just grabbing her, rushing upstairs to pack a bag, the chaos of trying to escape, and then hiding in a neighbor's closet, holding her mom's hand, while her whole world just fell apart right outside the door.
That moment, right there in the closet, that's what created her safety wound. Think about it. The two people who were supposed to protect her were so caught up in their own battle, they couldn't shield her from the fear. And in that instant, a little 5-year-old kid made a decision. I have to create my own safety. And she did that by becoming a peacekeeper, a people pleaser, someone who got really, really good at hiding what she actually needed. And her story, it's so powerful because it points to a truth for all of us. Those frustrating patterns in our own lives. Maybe it's avoiding conflict at all costs, or blowing up a good relationship, or just feeling like you're never quite good enough. They're not random. They come from somewhere. They're basically echoes of a past that is still very, very present.
Okay, so if our past is the cause, what are we actually looking for? This is where we get to the core concept of what are called origin wound. So an origin wound is that painful thing from your past that basically wrote the source code for how you act today. It's the original event that taught you something about yourself or about the world, a belief that you've been unconsciously playing out ever since.
And a lot of the times, these wounds boil down to 5 really fundamental questions that we ask ourselves, usually deep down. Questions like, am I truly worthy of love? Or, do I actually belong here? Maybe for you it's, am I a priority to the people who matter? Can I really trust anyone? Or that big one, am I truly safe? I bet at least one of those sounds kind of familiar. Right? So these wounds, they don't just sit quietly in the past. Nope, they are active and they are loud in our adult lives. And they send up these big red flags. Let's take a look at what they are. And as we go through this next part, just be honest with yourself. Does any of this sound familiar? These behaviors are basically alarm bells. That super intense, sudden reaction to a small comment, that's reactivity, and it's a huge sign. Or blowing things way out of proportion. Sabotaging a great relationship just when it starts to feel real. Hiding who you really are, or feeling like you always have to perform to earn love. All of these are signals that an old wound is being triggered, and it is desperately trying to get your attention. And this is where we have a choice. In those moments, we can have that knee-jerk, unconscious reaction and just repeat the old pattern, which usually just makes things worse, or we can learn to pause, to connect with what's really going on inside, and use that moment of understanding to actually create a new, healthier way forward. Which, of course, brings us to the most important part. Okay, so you've maybe identified a wound. Now what? What do you actually do about it? Let's walk through what a path to healing can look like. This whole idea of healing can feel kind of vague, but this framework makes it really concrete. First, you have to name the wound. Just acknowledge where the pain started. Step 2, witness and honor it. That means looking back at what happened and at that younger version of you without judging them. Third, you grieve the loss. You actually let yourself feel the sadness for what you needed back then but never got. And finally, number 4, you pivot. This is where you consciously choose a new reaction instead of falling into the old one. The goal here isn't to blame the past or to get stuck there forever. It's about realizing that these tough patterns are not a life sentence. They're not proof that life is just out to get you. Really, they're an invitation. They're pointing you to the exact places where your life is just waiting to be healed. Look, your patterns are trying to tell you something. They keep showing up because you deserve to feel better, to feel relief from this weight you've been carrying for so long. So the real question isn't whether your past is running your present, because it is.
The real question is, your wounds want to be healed. Are you ready to finally listen?